Yeah, no, I've been wearing the same shirt all week. Get over it. And let's get into it. So, we are now finding the volume for triangular prisms. If you all haven't noticed, triangular prisms are like what happened when you cut a rectangular prism in half. That's the way you have to think about it. So the same ways that you would find the volume for a rectangular prism, you do that for a triangular prism, but then you have to cut it in half. That's the major difference. That's the thing that a lot of you all were missing when we had this a few weeks ago, is that you just were not doing this type of cutting it in half, which is a good problem because that means it's a really easy problem to fix. Here we have a triangle with a base of 10, height of 10, and the prism part has a length of 25, which can also be seen as the height or as the depth. So step one is to find the area of the triangle base, and then step two is to multiply the area of that base times the length of the prism. So without further ado, first thing I'm going to do is come out of that and go into a whiteboard so you guys can see what's happening. Ooh. All right, so to put a triangle shape, it pretty much works the same way as we would do a rectangular prism. The only difference is we don't have any triangle shapes to go off of, but in essence, you draw two triangles and then you connect their corners. Oh, this triangle is gonna be bogus, I can tell y'all already. And then I'll draw the other triangle where it's not connecting or overlapping because that's not how the bases looked in our example. You want your base shapes to look as close to identical as possible. Understanding it's a sketch, so it really doesn't matter. But as close to perfect as you need it to be so that you can label it correctly. Yeah, so mine is a little ghetto, but it's cool. Again, the base for the triangle was 10 centimeters. The height for the triangle was 10 centimeters. And the length was 25 centimeters. Step one is to find the area of the triangle base. To find the area of the triangle base, we have to do 1/2, that's not 1/2, 1/2 times base times height. And then we multiply that times the height or the depth of the prism. So first we have a triangle base. Uh-oh, there we go. So we have a triangle base that has a height of 5, a height of 10, and a base of 10. So what we would do is 0.5 times 10 times 10. And what that's basically going to say, because think about it this way. If we were to find the area of a rectangle or a square, we would do base times height, which means that we would be basically looking for the area of something that hit a square shape. But because the triangle is like half of that square, we would only be looking for the area of this, which is why we do base times height, but then we cut it in half because we're not looking for this entire imaginary thing. You know what might actually make a little sense if I just actually illustrated what that looks like. So here's a square, a regular square, and here's what happens when we cut a square in half. So you literally have two triangles that make up a square, which is why when we find the area of a triangle, we always do 1/2 of it because the base of the triangle is here, the height of the triangle is here. If we do just base times height, then we get the area of a square and not a triangle. So we have to do 1/2 times base times height. Okay, so back to the lesson. Okay. So we do this quick calculation. 10 times 10 is 100. So we can do 0.5 times 100 and 1/2 of that is 50. So what we're actually saying is base times height, 50 times 25. And we know that 50 times 25, I actually don't want to mess that up. I'm going to put it in my calculator just to be sure. It's 1,250. So this would be 1,250 centimeters cubed. So understanding this one, like, because I usually have a skeleton for my work, I don't even need those last few lines, but this is basically what happens. We have to find the area of the triangular base and then multiply that times the length of the shape. And then this is what you would get. Sit tight as I prepare us for the next example. Okay, so here's what we have here. A triangular prism with the triangle base. We already have the area. So this little formula that I was going to show you guys, this is like a bit of a workaround so that you don't like ever forget when you're dealing with triangular prisms. This might be an easy formula for you all to use. 1/2 times length times width times height, because triangles are half of a square and a triangular prism is like 1/2 of a rectangular prism. So, but the other way that we do it is base times height. Luckily for us, we already have the base. We know that the base is 9 inches squared, and we're going to multiply that times 15 inches. So our volume is going to be the product of 9 times 15, which is 135 cubic inches. Okay. That's how that problem works. This next one is going to be a doozy for me to actually like recreate on the whiteboard. I am going to give it a shot. Bear with me if it looks a little janky. So you can pause the video right here and put in this work if you need to. I'm going to show you guys in a really short moment how we would do the last one, which is probably one of the more complicated versions of this question that you guys could expect to see. Okay, so on this problem, you will notice that there are a couple of things that I did not label on mine. And the reason why I didn't label them is because they are super unimportant to what it is that I need to answer the question for this problem. The 3 things I need are the base of the length of the base, the height of the base, and the height of the 3D shape. The numbers that you saw on this side and on this side of the triangle are like distracting information because neither one of those are the base. This 5.3 is the length of this long side of the triangle. And if the base of this triangle is 5.3, then the base of this triangle is 5.3. If the height, which is this blue line, is 1.26, then means the height of this triangle is also 1.26, which means we have all the information that we need to like be able to answer this question. I'm glad that it didn't give us the area for the triangle base because I can show you all how this modified formula works. So I have 0.5 times the length, which is 5.3, times the height, which is 1.26, and then times the depth or the height of the shape, which is 3.3. Basically what this is, I'm going to put this in parentheses so you guys can see that I'm still finding the base of my triangular base first. Remember that to find the area of a triangle, it's 0.5 times base times height. I did all of that is in these first 4 multiplication steps, which is how I know that my answer is still going to be correct when I get to the other side. Best bet is to use calculators for these steps. I have 0.5 times 5.3, which is 26, which is 2.65. And then I'm going to bring down the rest of my multiplication. You know what? And I'll leave this in parentheses so it doesn't confuse you. And something tells me that like I should still break this down on a higher level because we know that it is base times height. We know that to find the area of a triangular base, it is base times height. And I'll even start by putting base in parentheses so that everything else that's in parentheses okay. So then we have 2.65 times 1.26, which is 3.339. So we'll just say 3.34. And now we have 3.4 times 3.3. This is 11.0187. Not going to ask you guys to use like that super long number. We can just say 11 point 0.02. We'll just go to the nearest hundredth place. Cubic miles. So this is the answer that you would have, as well as all of the steps. Make sure that you're like actually paying attention and you're just not multiplying everything that you see, because that's not a solid strategy. You really have to ask yourself, does this make sense for me to multiply this in this way before you just go ahead and do it? So good opportunity to stop, take down these notes, make sure that they look a lot like, make sure that they all look, that it all looks and makes sense before you move past this page, because I'll be able to tell like who's actually like thinking through the work all the way based on the types of answers that I'm going to get. So again, you don't have to put units when you put in your answers. You can just put 11.02 or 11. Either way, I'll even let you put 11.01, 11.08. Okay, skedaddle, go do it.